Well, hello. I always say hello at these beginning of these things, and at first nobody is watching, so it's a bit of an odd beast. I'll just get my monitoring up. Somebody's watching, not sure who you are. Post a comment please so I know who you are. I'll get my monitoring up and running. And turn that off. Oh, it's you, Thomas. Hello, Thomas. I can before I get this thing into a tripod, introduce you to if the thing would work. Camera 2. Yeah, we're going to shoot some HD footage this afternoon. Hello, Thomas. Because I've noticed everything I've shot so far has been rather fuzzy vision off these Facebook feeds. They have the advantage that I can open-endedly stream lots of footage, but they have the disadvantage that the quality is not so great. So I thought I'd shoot something a bit clearer alongside. I have to get this into a tripod. And get it set up. So you live viewers get all of this fun stuff that won't be in the HD, because I have to be careful on card space on the HD. So trouble is, what the thing I'm monitoring this on is not live. And also the camcorder will turn itself off when left idle like that. So onwards to the time rotor. It's a tricky beast. We have a Perspex tube. This acts as the base of it, but we'll put that on one side because that's something we're going to have to paint tomorrow. We also have this bag. This contains this sort of washing up bowl thingy. We have that. That's the base. That will sit within that thing I just showed you. Now, according to what I read of the instructions, we also have, rather ominously, a piece of black paper. And we also have these bits and pieces that form part of the time rotor. And I think finally we have a thin piece of sticky plastic that once we've got everything inside this will be cut to place and go on top to form the top. So that's that fun. Just remember the one thing I didn't do, which was to get more glue out of the house. So there's about 4 of you watching now. Please type comments in so I know who you all are. Oh, you keep dropping off. I don't know why people come back and then drop off. These things really aren't going to get any more exciting. They are live. They're uncut. there as it happens. So, realised I've stuck everything on top of the instructions. So we have a whole page, or even two, I think it adds up to about two pages of central time rotor construction. This worries me, particularly as I've lost the tweezers, which I did carefully put in this box at one point, and now I don't know where the hell they've got to. Presumably have dropped somewhere on the floor, but I can't see them. Certainly not shouting at me in any level of obviousness of their position, so we'll struggle on without them for now. So, to start, and hopefully we have still got some glue left, this is our base for the thing. I'm going to position the cameras down a bit so you can actually see what I'm working on. So that's that one, and this one also has to be pointed down a bit. Hopefully they're both now pointing in the right way. So there's your base. And I will just basically read out what I'm being told, because I'm a total mystified person when it comes to this part, which is quite fiddly. Taking the fruit bowl, the fruit basket, glue this centrally to the base of the rotor, making sure that the centre hole lines up with the central hole in the rotor base. We would recommend that you paint both of these items separately first before continuing. So maybe I should hold fire and actually paint things and get on with the assembly tomorrow. Might make sense. So I'm not sure what colour that is meant to be. If it's sitting... The fruit basket, however, we can paint, because we know that's meant to be silver. And I have a lovely fresh pot of paint, so I can work on that. Just realised I've gone to all the trouble of shooting an HD video of what will essentially be paint drying. I have 2 bottles of paint. This one, it's definitely silver, not grey. This one, this one, despite having silver on the top, is clearly blue. So we can put that to one side. We don't need that today. So therefore I am assuming that the other one, which I've still got to get all its plastic off, is actually silver. So we'll pause the camcorder. Paper dolls. Are they a band, Thomas? In what reference, in what way am I meant to have heard of Paper Dolls? If they're a band, I don't think I've heard of them, unless you play me some music and I suddenly go, oh yes, them. So, that's all. Put that over there. Now this has a very strange twist thingy on the bottom, but also has a lid that opens. So that's really confusing. Now the lid opens to reveal what can only be described as a grey colour. So far we basically don't have... That was a blue, this is a grey, and quite a dark grey. That's definitely a black. I'm going to have to continue without painting it because I don't have a paint that is... See, that's definitely way too dark. I'm intrigued to know why it twists off at the bottom. Oh, it is silver. You twist it off at the bottom and it bloody well opens it again in another way. But that did at least reveal the colour. And through some weird miracle I've not actually got any on my fingers. So, until now. Oh, this is going to be fun. Just trying to start the damn video again. So, having consulted the instructions, I'm going to paint it. So, I think we're not actually assembling anything today. Unless I decide to start on the, thingies. Trying to find my previously used brush. There. Which is a tad stiff, but with a bit of mixing. Well, it's a grey rather than a silver. It's practically a two-part process painting it at all, because it's got an inside and an outside to it. Also, the holes still need cutting open. Well, it's not a bad colour now I actually see it on something. So, it's an exciting world of waiting for paint to dry. Or at least dealing with something a lot smaller this time. Oh, that's sort of silvery. It's an odd beast of a task, because some of it's assembly and other bits is preparation of the parts before they can even be assembled. I might yet be able to do both sides. It would save having to wait 24 hours for all this paint to dry if I could get both sides painted up now. And at least we can get on with assembling the time rotor tomorrow. Still fundamentally a grey rather than a silver, but I guess it'll have to do. So that we can put on one side. Meanwhile, I'm picking up bits of plastic. Also, we're not wanting to get the instructions covered in paint. Wish I'd held on to the jam jar that I did have full of white spirit. Cut out characters made out of slightly thick paper. You can stand up and get a lot of pop culture icons made in pen. Not aware of them, Thomas. So I'm basically about to give in to getting paint on things, I think. So now I'm painting stuff anyway. I may get on with painting stuff for the controls. So I'm going to throw all of this away. That's directly related to the time rotor. And instead a very good question in terms of painting, and that's which of these need black paint on? I'm getting paint on everything. Not good, but at least it's still in boxes. It makes me want to take that out so it doesn't get paint on it. So, yeah, there's paint everywhere now. Got more loose paint there. Cover that stuff up. Do have more newspaper, unfortunately it's quite crumpled. Should strike me. dodgy bit. And therefore, look at controls. Do need is the colour illustration of the panels. Then I can work out what goes where. That's got bits on it that need to be black. That's got bits on it that need to be black. That, and that have all got bits on it that need to be black. Medium grey, medium grey, medium grey. Oh. I've got grey. I haven't got medium grey, I've got grey. You can have grey, grey or grey. Or you can have black. So you are black, presumably. Yep, you are black. So we now need another brush, one that's reasonably large. That's got two lines on it that's got to be black. That's got two lines on it that have got to be black. And that's got some little bits on it that have to be black. Everything else. To one side. Now I'm rather glad I have a nice small brush here. No, no, no! Do not want the light on. Wastes even my high. So So there are certain details that need picking out in this. How I'm meant to pick out one area. I'm sure there's people now who are much better at model building than me, absolutely shouting at the YouTube video they are watching. It's a very odd consistency anyway. These lines along here also have to be black. You can barely see where they are. I have a deep level of admiration See, that panel is described as silver. That panel there. So we could get back to our silver brush, the one that's intent on covering me with paint. And that panel do not fall over. No, that panel is silver. We've basically got grey. I've only got what I was told to order in terms of paint, so if anything's wrong, I only have my own instructions to blame, and I ordered exactly what I was asked to order. How people can pick out these tiny little detailed areas, I don't know. At least this is raised, which makes my job a little bit easier. So you can see that is now picked out. And I think we will leave our HD viewers there, because this is probably getting incredibly dull for you. Around that is mid-grey. I don't have any mid-grey. I have grey, grey and grey. So you'll just have to live with grey. And this one There's something else that has to be picked out in black. Namely, those two bits. Again, we're wiping an awful lot of ink off. An awful lot, because we just want to finally pick those out. Think and hope that I can leave that one there at least. This one has two dials at the bottom of it. That and that lines have to be blank. Again, goodbye, Thomas. I essentially do not have surgeon's hands. Mid-grey. I don't have mid-grey. I have grey. You'll have grey and lumpet. There is no mid-grey, there is grey. Much as it is quite calming, all this painting, it is also incredibly fiddly, and it mystifies me how anybody can do it accurately. Or to put it another way, it's at this point the whole process starts getting rather rough and ready. So, I think we've taken that about as far as we can take it today, because we're at that frustrating part again where we have to leave paint to dry, and so there's nothing I can do now apart from wait and put brushes to dry and carefully put bits of console to one side. I have a feeling bits of this are just not going to be the right colour, because I will end up putting an assembly before other things. So that is your lot for today.